Welcome to a Legendarium special about Skanderbeg, the man who defied 2 sultans. In this special, we will study a Christian who entered the service of the Turkish Sultan and then betrayed his master in spectacular fashion. Skanderbeg was born Gjergj Kastrioti in 1405 in the town of Gjergj in the Albanian mountains. He was the youngest son of a local ruler named Jan Kastrioti, who tried to perform a balancing act that would keep him from being overthrown by either the Venetians or the Ottoman Turks. The latter used a vast army of professional soldiers called Janissaries to conquer their way through southern Europe. As part of this balancing act, John sent some of his sons east as political hostages to be raised in the Ottoman court. Gjergj left his homeland at the age of 9 for Ottoman Turkey, where he converted to Islam and took the name Alexander, or in Turkish, Iskander. The Turks took his name from Alexander the Great, revered as a conqueror in Southwest Asia. He received training in military science and took the title of Bey, which meant chieftain or lord, from Sultan Murad II. In this way, the warrior Skanderbeg came into being. To make sure that Skanderbeg lived like a lord, his Turkish overlords granted him vast estates in Macedonia. By his early 20s, Skanderbeg distinguished himself in Ottoman campaigns against Christian realms, to the extent that his father even apologized to Venice for his son's activities. That must have been awkward, for John thought that Venice offered him the best chance of securing his threatened Albanian realm. To impress the Venetians, John joined a doomed uprising against the Ottoman Empire, losing all his Albanian lands in the process. He went into exile at a Greek monastery where he later died. Skanderbeg's military successes and popularity at the Ottoman court protected him from being punished for his father's disloyalty. Yet that did not protect his birthright, and the Sultan divided up Kastrioti lands among court favorites. That proved to be a costly mistake on the part of the Ottomans. With no father and no lands to protect, whatever loyalty Skanderbeg had to the Ottoman Empire vanished like vapor. After a major Turkish defeat at Nis in Serbia during the year 1443, Skanderbeg abandoned the Turks. At the head of a small force of 300 Albanians who also deserted Ottoman service, he put his military skills towards reclaiming his father's estates. Using a fake letter, Skanderbeg convinced the governor of the mountain stronghold of Gjergj to allow him inside. Once fortified within its walls, Skanderbeg set about expelling the Ottomans from Albania. This would have been a ludicrously difficult ambition for any man, yet Skanderbeg proved more than just a gifted military commander. He showed himself skilled at making alliances. Soon after his return to Albania, he united the local chieftains and then looked further afield. He benefited from a civil war between Sultan Murad II and his rival Mehmed II. Rejecting the Islam of his youth, Skanderbeg presented himself as a Christian bulwark against Islamic Turkey. On June 29, 1444, Skanderbeg met Ali Pasha at the Battle of Torviol, where the Ottomans outnumbered him 2-1. Before the battle, Skanderbeg held Christian services for his men and gave them a bonus. During the battle, Skanderbeg made up for his numerical disadvantage by choosing a mountain valley which did not allow the Ottomans to use their superior numbers. When the Turks attacked, Skanderbeg used hidden cavalry forces to drive the Ottomans from the field, killing 10,000 of the 20,000 Ottoman Turks. After this victory, he raised more money from the Venetians, who hoped to distract the Ottomans from attacking Western Europe. Pope Calixtus III provided more money for the Albanian campaigns, and even named Skanderbeg the Captain General of the Holy See. Italians in Skanderbeg's newly founded League of Lezhe pinned their hopes on the Albanian warlord keeping the Ottoman Empire from the Adriatic coastline. For if the Turks seized it, then the Ottoman Empire would have only a short hop into Italy and even the rest of Western Europe. Skanderbeg did not let his Italian allies down. For 25 years, he held the Ottoman Empire at bay in Albania, harassing their provinces whenever he could. In 1449, Skanderbeg faced an Ottoman army of 100,000, which besieged his capital. For 5 months, the Ottomans tried to breach the walls with cannons and even unsuccessfully tried to bribe a gate commander. By always attacking the Ottoman army in the rear whenever they invaded his city, Skanderbeg held out until winter forced the Ottomans to leave his snowy mountain homeland. Unfortunately, the early 1450s also saw a failed Albanian offensive at Berat, which encouraged the Ottomans to attack again. In 1457, Skanderbeg won another stunning victory at Albuleta, where he killed 25,000 invading Ottoman Turks. Thereafter, he divided his time between Albania and Italy, hoping to put together an anti-Turkish front while waging new offensives against the Sultan. Skanderbeg's greatest victory came at Ohrid, where he lured the Ottoman garrison out of its lakeside fortress and slaughtered them. This finally forced Sultan Mehmed II, the victor of the civil war, to march west with 100,000 men, which forced Skanderbeg to again retreat to Gjergj. While Mehmed II failed to take Gjergj, he built fortresses throughout the Albanian countryside and set up an Ottoman government there. With Albania in such a state, Skanderbeg died at the age of 63, his legacy reduced to little more than the fortress of Gjergj. Though the Venetians briefly took command of his old capital, Gjergj fell 10 years later and Albania remained under Ottoman control until 1912. However, the legend of Skanderbeg lived on. Authors of many nations wrote over 1,000 books and poems on Skanderbeg in 20 languages. Edmund Spenser, Christopher Marlowe, and Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote poetry about the Albanian champion. They helped to make him one of the great heroes of the Turkish wars, alongside John Hunyadi, Stephen the Great, and Vlad the Impaler. His sword, a Damascus scimitar, is held in the Vienna Art History Museum. His statue stands in half a dozen European capitals, and a bust of him in London carries an inscription reading, "The Defender of Western Civilization." That wraps things up for this Legendarium special. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.